Hey Mike, while we're out here checking all this stuff out, I got a question for you.
What's up, bro?
What do you feel about Recce?
Recce? What's a Recce?
You don't know what Recce is?
No.
You were a military guy, man. You did recon and reconnaissance. You can't call it reconnaissance or recon anymore. It has to be Recce, because that's the cool thing to say.
Is that what all the cool kids are calling it nowadays?
Yep. Because we're doing some recon right now, and I was just thinking, like, this is a perfect subject for us to talk about.
We're just out here scouting this new property, kind of checking for resources and things like that. So, you know.
See, the thing is, I'm concerned though, because I don't have my Recce rifle.
Is that a 7.5-inch AR with a muzzle brake on it?
I don't have my helmet, I don't have my night vision, I don't have my thermal.
Oh my God, you're slacking.
I don't have my mags, I don't have a can.
You're not all kitted up.
I don't have plates, you know, level 3 plates.
Where's all your battle rattle, man? All your, you know, you got to be in full battle rattle, like.
Yeah, so that's got me thinking, like, you actually did it for real. So I want to, you know, hear about it from a military standpoint. Based on what's on YouTube today, I mean, it's all high speed.
Who's all wearing a thermal camo? Is that Russian paratrooper camo? You gotta be kidding me.
It's filmed in night vision with IR. And I think that a lot of these people are setting people up for failure.
Oh, absolutely.
They probably shouldn't have left home to begin with, right? Well, because once you leave the safety and security of your home, you're putting yourself out there.
Well, that's the first thing. So why did you leave the secure area? There has to be a purpose.
Because YouTube told me to do it.
There has to be plans in place. You have to have evac procedures. You have to have point of contact. You have to have comms with the TOC. You know.
Oh, you're saying there's like all this procedure and protocol and SOPs,
dude. Like there's
and support and everything.
A 12-hour mission has at least 72 hours of preparation.
But I have seen so many videos on YouTube, like where they're encouraging civilians to do this kind of thing. Why would you leave in the first place?
It's mental masturbation. The moment you step out here, everything knows you're here, you know.
Right.
And if you're gonna go into an environment where you're not the resident here, you have to meld with the environment. Think small, be small. The first thing you're trying to avoid is your signature of presence in the area. It comes to how you walk, you know, how you're moving through here. Are you bumping through and breaking limbs and stuff like that?
Right, all the stuff that I cut sign.
Yeah.
When I'm out here, right?
You know,
you're leaving a wake as you walk through this.
And it becomes natural. You start looking for, well, where am I going to leave a footprint and where am I not? Like, I would not want to step on that clump of grass, right?
Right.
Because I'll show you, you step on that clump of grass and look at the difference.
Right there.
Now, to the average person, that might not look like much, but
my question is though, would you even be in this environment to begin with?
Not unless it was.
The majority of people that are watching this right now probably live in a suburban or urban environment, right?
A lot of stuff I'm gonna move out of my way instead of breaking it off. But no, I would not be out here unless it was my choice of last resort. You cannot create the infrastructure out here that you have at your residence at home. Your familiarity, you're gonna take what you can fit on your back and you're gonna go out here into a foreign environment. You know, even if you are an experienced woods person, this is a foreign environment that you don't live in every day.
I don't think that people that are watching these videos, they understand what Recce truly is, what reconnaissance truly is. Building a map, resources, pinch point. This is where this patrol unit is. Basically scouting, like you would do in the military. You got to go into enemy territory. You got to figure all these things out. You got to translate that to a map. You got to get back to command.
Well, and a lot of that was done prior to the detachment leaving. You know, whatever you're going to do, if you're going to send a squad out and everything, a lot of that was done prior to them ever putting on one piece of kit. Funnels, convergence, you know, and things like that was identified prior to. And there's going to be things you run into out there that wasn't on the pre-plan, you know, but there's a lot more to it.
I just think that it's really misleading. And like you said, I think there's a lot more to it. And people don't understand small unit tactics. They probably don't have the network or the skills or the training to be able to do the things that we're talking about.
Being able to move as a unit is a big thing too. You'll hear people talking about being able to flip a switch. And you have to kind of shut down the cognitive and revert back to like your primal reptilian brain and become more of an intuitive person.
You've actually told me about this experience that you've had when you were over in the Middle East, where you actually had to do that. And a lot of people don't understand probably what you're saying and why.
And a lot of times there's things that you can know without actually knowing it. There's things that you can feel and pick up on. You walk into an area and you start to get a vibe. And you start looking around, well, why am I alerted? And you start looking around and there's ambush points. You start seeing ambush points, or you start seeing things that are out of place. And I know the military preaches all the time, attention to detail. Mm-hmm. And so what you do is you start noticing something like, that doesn't look right, you know, and you start to get a feel for the environment that you're in. And you have to listen to that, because if not, you know, you just walk face first into a meat grinder.
So you cooked up a story and dropped the 6 of us in a meat grinder.
You think that there's ever a situation where a civilian who is not trained, who's not outfitted, I mean, because let's be honest, I mean, when I was in the field, we had IR, night vision, but you know, one IR unit back then for me was 14 grand. And I knew I better not screw up that piece of equipment or I was gonna have to pay for it.
Very few people have access to that kind of gear. And
ooh, we need to watch where we be going.
Yeah, I'm talking instead of watching, trying to cut through over here.
Where are you leading us on this recon? I mean, this recce.
Well, that's part of it. There's a lot of trails and things like that, and everybody thinks that they're gonna bug out and they're gonna cover 10 miles a day, and that may be great when you're on a paved road and stuff like that, but through all of this stuff right here, and you have to go where your adversary won't.
And we are definitely there.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Gotta go.
What is that over there? Is that a structure? I can't tell. We're so close to it too, I can't tell.
And look how thick it is.
Wow, that is a big old sycamore right over in there.
Yeah, that's the one.
Dang, that's huge. That thing is massive.
That's about the center of this property, but
golly.
So you also have to go where you're not likely to be discovered.
Right.
That's the thing. If you take the path of least resistance, then somebody else is probably coming through there too. And that little thing that we just went through, once the rain comes and washes our footprints away.
Yeah, because right now we're actually in a floodplain.
Right
now. You know, I get asked questions about it a lot. And, you know, my response to them is, where do you live? Number one. How much money do you have? How much do you want to invest in this? How much training are you willing to put into this? And, you know, maybe it's not a rifle, right? Maybe it's, you have a handgun. Because what if you're in an urban environment and you need to be able to conceal this?
Right. Yeah.
Right? You need to do the gray man thing for whatever the SHTF scenario is.
I've told a lot of people that if I was forced to grab a bag and walk away, I'm not even carrying a long gun. I'm gonna have a sidearm with 4 mags for my sidearm, and that's it. And I'm gonna pray that I never have to crack off a round, because the moment you do, everybody within 5 miles knows you're there. And so, in the interest of not becoming a target yourself, if you see a guy walking through and all camoed up and everything, all these hunters and stuff that are out here, they're good at taking targets at 300 yards.
Right, I mean, I'm one of them, right? As a hunter in this territory, I mean, in the average shot, like close shot, is gonna be about 80 yards here, right, in this kind of environment. You know, you'd have to have a brush gun in this area, but that's another thing too. Maybe you're carrying a 30-30, which for me is a perfect round for a human.
Yeah. It's big game. So we'll take it into small, medium, and big game. And so a 30-30, you know, 45 caliber handgun, 40, you know, we're carrying 10s and things like that. And so that is for the game or the adversary that we're likely to meet. And part of that is to stop the threat with as few rounds as possible. You can carry 9mm or whatever you want. And a lot of people always talk about, well, it's just shot placement. It's just shot placement. That's bull. There's no substitute for stopping power. And so if I had to spend 3 rounds of 9mm to do what 1 round of 10 mil will do, then I have reduced my engagement in the fight.
For me, it's also about like a shotgun, right? If you have double-aught buck and you got 9 pellets, I mean, how many shots is that from a 9mm?
Right.
In one shot, one delivery?
One squeeze of the trigger, right? And so that's 9 .32 caliber balls between 1,200 and 1,300 feet per second, right? And balls bounce.
That's right. And that's what I'm trying to tell people is maybe you don't need to follow that format of what's popular,
right?
Of what everybody's doing these days or telling you that you should be doing. Maybe you should be listening to guys that have actually done it.
We had a guy close to where I live, and he had killed a couple of people, and he was on the run. And I met with the SRT team up there and everything, and of course everybody's looking for him on the ridges. Well, that's how a predator thinks. And I told him, I said, you guys need to be checking these creek bottoms and stuff, because if I was on the run, I'm not going to be silhouetting myself up against the sky on a ridge.
I just did a video about this.
Right. I mean, and so I'm going to be halfway down in the creek bottoms and everything, where I have full view of everything around me, because everything from this point is elevated, right? It's a risk. If this wasn't as thickly wooded as it is, it would be a big risk, right? But they know how to think like predators. They don't know how to think like prey. Right, so you have to adjust that mindset of, if I was a rabbit, what would I be doing? If whatever your quarry is, if your quarry is another human being that's on the run, you have to flip that switch and be able to put yourself in that person's shoes. What would I do?
Well, there you have it, folks, from the mouth of someone who's actually done it. I know this is a controversial topic. I know that the keyboard warriors are gonna come to the party and they're gonna start typing immediately, and that's fine, because I want to hear what your thoughts are in the comment section. So if you're honey smack digging the video, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and until next time, keep fueling those fires.